How many generals and admirals have you fired?
I don't know the exact number, but
You don't know the number. It's 8. We're going to get a report in a few days from the DoD Inspector General. And if the DoD Inspector General finds what is pretty obvious, both to you smiling there in the witness seat and to all of us up here, that the information was, in fact, classified, do you plan to take any accountability for that?
as I pointed out at the time,
You said that accountability is back. Does that not apply to you?
as I said at the time, Congressman, there were no names, targets, locations, units, routes, sources, methods, no classified information.
Okay, so if it comes back that it is classified, will you take accountability or not? If it is
What I
confirmed,
know is that
will you take
everything I
accountability?
share, everything I talk about,
Mr.
as
Secretary,
of
does
Defense,
accountability apply to you or not?
is classified whether I talk or not.
Does it apply to you or not?
Does what apply to me or not?
Accountability. You said accountability is back at the Secretary.
And you know what? The Houthis were held accountable for shooting at our
I'm
ships
just asking if it applies
very
to you.
successfully.
I'm not asking about the
previous
Houthis.
administration let our ships get shot at, and nothing was done about it. And thankfully, because of the skill and courage of our troops on
I'm
the
just
battlefield,
asking about a
Picture a committee room, bright lights, hard wood, and one very simple question hanging in the air. Who is accountable when sensitive military information finds its way out of secure channels and into a group chat? That's the center of the Signal Chat scandal.
Secretary Hegseth, I'd like to clarify a few important details for the record. When you texted the launch time for F-18s going into combat over enemy territory facing anti-aircraft missiles on an unclassified Signal Chat, did that launch time come from Central Command, yes or no?
I know what you're referring to, and there were no
It's a very simple
targets or
question. Did it come from?
locations
It's a
or-
very simple question. Did it come from Central Command?
Well, in this committee, no way in which I communicate or what I communicate on a successful strike is something that I would share.
So you can't even identify the combatant command under which this operation occurred.
Well, everybody knows the
Okay, so everyone knows
the
the Central Command. So when Central Command sent you this information, did they send it on a classified system or an unclassified system?
Well, as you know, having served yourself, any way that the Secretary of Defense communicates or provides information in and of itself is classified and not to be discussed.
So what was the classification marking of the launch time when it was sent to you? Because DoD regulations require information on classified systems to be marked.
What was the classification mark time?
Yeah. What was the classification marking? Because
Again,
DoD
classifications of any information in an ongoing operation that was successful are not things that would be disclosed in a public forum.
But
know that.
you can very well disclose whether or not it was classified. It's not classified to disclose whether or not it was classified. And in fact, DoD regulations state that any classified information has to be labeled with its classification. Was it classified secret or top secret?
What's not classified is that it was an incredibly successful mission against the Houthis.
Okay, so it was classified. So are you trying to say that the information was unclassified?
I'm not
Okay,
trying to
that's
say
what
anything.
I thought. You're not saying that. So you took classified information from Central Command that had a classification marking on it, because that's what's required by DoD regulations, and you put it on an unclassified system. So we're going to get a report in a few days from the DoD Inspector General. And if the DoD Inspector General finds what is pretty obvious, both to you smiling there in the witness seat and to all of us up here, that the information was, in fact, classified, do you plan to take any accountability for that?
As I pointed out at the time,
You said that accountability is back. Does that not apply to you?
as I said at the time, Congressman, there were no names, targets, locations, units, routes, sources, methods, no classified information.
Okay, so if it comes back that it is classified, will you take accountability or not?
As
We've
I
already
said,
established, you've already admitted that it was classified because everything you get from CENTCOM is classified. You just explained that to me. That's how you justified not answering the question.
not what I said. I didn't confirm any classification or
Okay, so if it is
what
confirmed,
I know is that
will you take
everything I
accountability?
share, everything I talk about,
Mr.
as
Secretary,
of
does
Defense,
accountability apply to you or not?
is classified whether I talk or not.
Does it apply to you or not?
Does what apply to me or not?
Accountability. You said accountability is back at the Secretary.
And you know what? The Houthis were held accountable for shooting at our
I'm
ships
just asking if it applies
very
to you.
successfully.
I'm not asking about the
previous
Houthis.
administration let our ships get shot at, and nothing was done about it. And thankfully, because of the skill and courage of our troops on
I'm
the
just asking
battlefield,
about
we
I
actually
reclaim my
put them
time.
in a place
I
where
reclaim
they
my time.
called for a ceasefire.
I claim my time. I'm just asking if accountability applies to you. It's a very simple question.
I
We use
serve-
leadership by
Of
example.
course, unlike, I serve at the pleasure of the president like everybody else does.
So it only applies to the president, not to you.
I serve at the pleasure.
You talked about the success of the Houthi operation. About how much money did it cost? How much money did you spend on missiles shooting at the Houthis?
Well, you'd have to compare that with what it costs.
I'm just asking how much did it cost?
Divert our shipping lanes around.
I'm told
the
it's
Red Sea.
several $100 million, maybe close to $1 billion. How many U.S. flagged commercial ships have transited the Red Sea since your so-called successful operation?
Well, thankfully, unlike the previous administration.
The answer
we
is
had
zero.
Military vessels transit.
No, I didn't ask
just
about
this
military
week.
vessels. I
Well, which
asked
would
about
be the
commercial
precursor
vessels.
for
How many
civilian and
commercial vessels?
transit,
It's been several
thankfully.
weeks. How many commercial vessels, U.S. flagged, have
Well,
transited the
would
Red
you,
Sea?
Mr. Congressman, put civilian ships
The
through
questions
dam
are not to
before
me,
military
Mr.
ships?
Secretary,
So
they're to you.
We have responsibly put military
The answer
ships
is zero.
through first.
I reclaim my time. How many generals and admirals have you fired?
I don't know the exact number, but
You don't know the number. It's 8. Can you explain why any of them were fired? Like, just explain why was...
they all serve at the pleasure of the president. I think
No, I'm just asking you why.
General Kane is a great example.
I'm just
of
asking
a
you
leader
why.
that we
I
need
think you
at
probably
this
learned
time.
at Princeton what why means. Why did you fire him?
They serve at the pleasure of the president, and we
Why
want better
did you
representation
fire
in
him?
each and every of those.
You can't
each and
explain
every
why
one
you
of those
fired any of
places.
them?
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair.
And Congressman Seth Moulton's exchange captures why this isn't just bureaucratic hair-splitting. It's about the safety of missions and the people who carry them out. Here's what matters and why you should care. Reports say the Pentagon Inspector General has been investigating whether content shared from Secretary Pete Hegseth's Signal account originated in a CENTCOM document that carried classification markings, which, by regulation, means it should have been handled on a classified system, not through a private chat app. That detail transforms the story from an embarrassing leak into a potential operational security breach. Why do markings matter? The Department of Defense doesn't label information confidential, secret, or top secret for decoration. Those words are handling instructions, meant to protect details that could endanger missions, troops, and allies if exposed. If information like launch times, unit movements, or targeting windows leaves a secure channel, adversaries can exploit it. The specificity of something as simple as timing can change an outcome on the battlefield. That's why rules around classification exist, not as red tape, but as shields for the people carrying out the orders. That's what makes Seth Moulton's questioning so important. He pressed the secretary not as an exercise in political theater, but as a safeguard, asking if the investigation finds classified information was shared, will accountability apply to the person responsible? That's not grandstanding, that's Congress doing its job. Oversight exists to keep even the powerful honest. The administration's defense has been twofold. First, that nothing identifying, no names, no targets, no locations, was shared. Second, that the material wasn't classified when posted. That's why the Inspector General's report is so crucial. The facts depend on provenance and markings. Did the signal messages come from a document labeled secret? If so, this isn't just an optics issue. It's procedural and potentially disciplinary. There's another layer here that should concern anyone who values integrity in government. In the midst of this investigation, new policy discussions reportedly surfaced that could limit the independence of inspectors general, the very watchdogs tasked with accountability. Whether intentional or coincidental, the optics are terrible. Oversight only works when investigators can follow the evidence wherever it leads, without fear of political pressure. So what can we learn from all this beyond the headlines? First, the technicalities of classification aren't trivial. They protect lives. Second, institutions and norms, secure channels, clear markings, independent investigators are the guardrails that keep democracy functioning and the military professional. Third, accountability isn't a partisan issue. It's a principle that strengthens every side of the political spectrum. If you care about good governance, this is your call to action. Demand transparency from your representatives. Support the independence of oversight bodies. Stay informed through credible reporting, not partisan spin. When oversight is strong, mistakes are corrected. When it's weak, mistakes multiply. In the end, Seth Moulton's question, does accountability apply to you, isn't just a challenge to one man. It's a question to all of us. Do we still believe in leadership by example, or have we grown comfortable with two sets of rules, one for the powerful and one for everyone else? If we care about our service members, then we must care about the systems that protect them. Because real patriotism isn't about defending a party, it's about defending the truth.